Tuesday in Salem unfolds not with spectacle, but with a quiet shift in the air, a subtle tightening that signals the beginning of a week destined to reshape the lives of nearly everyone who calls this town home. It is the kind of day that doesn't announce itself with noise, yet leaves ripples trailing behind every choice, every glance, every unexpected encounter. A day made of whispers more than shouts, but whispers that carry the power to fracture families, expose buried truths, and ignite the slow burn of chaos long before anyone realizes they've stepped into the flames. Holly Jonas moves through the morning with the deliberate ease of someone who knows eyes are on her and welcomes the attention. She looks immaculate, polished in a way that gives her the aura of a young woman who has rebuilt herself from the inside out. People around her see growth, recovery, maybe even redemption. They see someone who wants to begin again. What they cannot see is the discipline behind every polished gesture, the calculation behind each measured smile. Holly doesn't stumble into reinvention, she engineers it. Every detail of her appearance serves a purpose. Every softened expression masks the sharpness beneath. Her confidence radiates outward in a way that seems effortless, but it is effort. Quiet, strategic, unwavering effort. Beneath the warmth in her eyes is a mind mapping future moves, anticipating reactions, preparing for outcomes no one else recognizes are even possible. She has learned to use charm like a key, unlocking doors that once felt sealed by judgment or consequence. Today marks the beginning of a carefully crafted campaign, one where she positions herself exactly where she wants to stand, even if someone else must be nudged aside to clear the path. Salem sees a girl seeking forgiveness, but beneath the surface, Holly is crafting something far more ambitious. Across town, Chanel Devereaux steps into her morning wrapped in a fragile peace she rarely allows herself to feel. Trey rests in his stroller, and every movement she makes is touched by a softness that motherhood has etched into her. The world feels gentle in this moment. Quiet streets, crisp air, and a warm sense of possibility that is still new enough to take her breath away. But peace in Salem is a temporary luxury. She turns the corner and freezes, her entire world narrowing to the figure standing directly in front of her, Aaron Green, the past she thought she had left behind. His gaze drops to Trey with a kind of lingering focus that sends a tremor through her body. There is curiosity in his eyes, but not the casual kind. Something deeper, something assessing, something that quietly measures resemblance and possibility. Chanel's heartbeat stumbles into panic, a panic she hides behind forced composure. Her grip tightens around the stroller handle, her body instinctively shielding her son even as her mind races. 1,000 unspoken fears surge at once, questions she hoped she would never have to confront. Nothing explicit is said, yet the message is unmistakable. Aaron is paying attention. He is noticing details. He is connecting dots. This moment marks the first shift in a storm Chanel cannot outrun. The past has returned to the edges of her present, and it stares directly at the child she would do anything to protect. What begins as a silent glance may soon escalate into a battle that claws at the foundation of her fragile new life. Elsewhere in Salem, Tate Black finds himself in a rare moment of vulnerability. He is a young man accustomed to carrying more than anyone realizes, a quiet protector trapped in the expectations of a family weighed down by history and pain. Today, the facade slips. The weight becomes too heavy to hide. He sits with Ari in a moment stripped of pretense, and gradually the truth leaks through the small fractures in his composure. What he reveals is not dramatic. It is devastating in its restraint. Worries about Rachel, about the turbulence shaking her sense of self, about the fear in her eyes that grows stronger with each passing hour. Worries about Brady, about the exhaustion etched into him, and about the burden of decisions no parent should face alone. And then the unspoken truth emerges in the way Tate holds himself, in the quiet tremor beneath his words. He feels responsible for all of it, for being the steady one, for providing calm where chaos reigns, for carrying emotional weight that should never rest on the shoulders of someone still learning who he is. This moment marks a turning point, a boy being forced into the role of protector long before he is ready, internalizing the fractures of his family as if they were faults within himself. It is a quiet tragedy unfolding beneath the surface, the kind that doesn't break suddenly, it erodes slowly. And today, for the first time, Tate lets himself be seen, not as the confident young man everyone expects, but as someone drowning under responsibilities he never asked for. At the same time, Belle arrives seeking clarity, prepared to navigate a web of legal implications she assumes are standard for the Black family's latest upheaval. But what she finds instead is a truth so heavy it shifts the entire foundation of what she thought she knew. Brady delivers the news with raw desperation, unable to soften it. Rachel's memories have returned. The gun, the trigger, the blurred moment of violence that reshaped their lives, and the devastating realization that Kristen sacrificed herself to shield her daughter from the consequences. Belle watches the final pieces fall into place, and the weight of it hits with a chilling clarity. This is not simply trauma resurfacing. It is a psychological unraveling. Rachel's childhood innocence is colliding violently with the reality of what happened, and the fallout is dangerously unpredictable. Belle recognizes immediately what Brady cannot yet admit. This situation isn't just painful, it's volatile. A crisis that threatens legal ramifications, emotional fractures, and the unraveling of a young girl who is not equipped to face the truth consuming her. Brady reaches for stability, but finds none. His guilt is suffocating. His fear is palpable, and Belle sees in him the signs of a father on the edge. Broken, overwhelmed, desperate for a solution may not exist. Across Salem, another story tightens like a noose. Alex Kyriakis, not easily rattled, finds himself haunted by a presence he cannot explain. He senses movement in places where no one should be, hears subtle shifts in the air that don't belong, feels watched in moments meant to be private. These are not coincidences, not shadows of stress. These are warnings. Alex seeks reassurance, but receives dismissal instead, leaving him alone with instincts honed by conflicts and dangers few fully understand. And those instincts are screaming that a threat has already crossed the threshold into his life. Stephanie doesn't recognize the urgency behind his words. She sees stress, not danger, distraction, not threat. But Alex knows better. Something is coming, something unseen, something patient. And Tuesday marks the moment when suspicion begins transforming into reality. Meanwhile, the Horton house carries its own quiet ache. Charlotte sits at the table drawing pictures, the simple joy of a child wrapped in innocence. But every few minutes, she glances toward the door with hopeful anticipation. She waits for footsteps, for the familiar warmth of her father's arrival, unaware that her wish drifts into the dark beneath Salem, where Chad DiMera fights for breath in the cold isolation of the crypt. He awakens disoriented, bruised, trapped. Kristen and Tony already imprisoned beside him, sharing the same confusion and fear. There is no clear sense of time, no clear sense of escape. And above ground, Jennifer senses a growing dread she cannot shake. Messages unanswered, silence where there should be comfort. Abigail's absence has already carved a permanent wound into her life. Another disappearance feels unbearable. Tuesday does not reveal the culprit. It does not reveal the plan. It reveals only the dread, a creeping awareness that something is deeply wrong and spreading. The day closes with Salem appearing calm, but beneath that calm, every storyline tightens, every character edges closer to crisis, and every small moment reveals itself to be the beginning of something far greater. Nothing today happens loudly, yet every quiet moment is a warning A past returning at the worst possible moment, a girl reinventing herself for reasons no one sees, a young man crushed under expectations, a father unraveling under truth, a man stalked by an unseen presence, a child waiting for someone who may not return, a family about to face a nightmare. Tuesday sets the stage with a silence that feels almost gentle, until you understand the storm waiting on the other side.